Well, good morning. It's 8:30 and we're going to go ahead and get started. Today is May 1st, 2020, and this is In the Field Friday. And this morning our guest is Patrick Hattie, our Farm Management Specialist in Southwest Iowa for ISU Extension. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning. How are you doing, Carol?
Doing good. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the farm economy. So I'll turn it over to you.
So let's talk about the good news first. I think that would be a good thing to do. So the planting progress across certainly Southwest Iowa, but across the state is ahead of schedule. That is very good news. And it is certainly ahead of the 5-year average. And I don't think that comes to any surprise for our farmers or producers. And that is the best news that I can give you today. So the kind of questions that we're fielding on the farm management team are, just how much is, the ag industry being affected by the COVID-19 things. And I go, there has been certainly a dramatic decrease in our energy sector, and many parts of the farm economy are down 15 to say 50%. So certainly the energy sector is the most hard hit of that part of it. And a couple things I just want to talk about this morning before I forget. First off is mental health. So there's actually a number if someone needs or wants someone to talk to. It's 1-800-447-1985. Some other things that are happening are there's a program that was announced by Secretary Nag. It's called Pass the Pork, and what this is designed to do is to give away, if specifically pigs are going to be euthanized, that they could be given to more than likely it'll be a local locker in a smaller community, and individuals are donating money through the Pass the Pork program, and the money that's being donated is paying for the processing, and in turn those pigs that are essentially being donated will be turned around after their process, and the pork will be basically given to the food banks of Iowa. So my wife and I, we have already donated to that. We think that's a great program. And I don't have a website out there, but if you just Googled Pass the Pork, you could find out about that program. So, but there is a great need for there's a lot of folks just have food insecurity. Prior to the COVID-19, about 11% of the state was on poverty, and it's expected that that number will increase by a couple 100,000 by the time this is over with. So this is a way that, someone says, hey, how can I help? I would say, one, folks could volunteer. That's actually good for your mental state. If you volunteer, that's a good thing. And if you aren't able to do that, but you have the ability to write a check, certainly this is a great program, but even a food bank could, they would love to have a donation. So couple things that are going on that we expect in the farm management team is we expect there to be some form of a market facilitation payment in 2020. Obviously, we don't know what that's going to look like because it hasn't been announced yet, but given what's happened to the ag industry, specifically the pork and the beef industry, there'll be some form of market facilitation payment. I can't guarantee that, but we think that's going to happen. So I think that's what I really have that I really wanted to get out there, and I really didn't know the audience this morning and the kind of questions that you might have. So I'm open now to questions, I guess.
Well, Patrick, one thing that I know is in the news quite a bit lately and on social media especially is talking about farmers having to put down hogs or chickens or dump milk. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on there and why those things are happening?
The biggest reason for this is that there's been a disruption in the system, and part of that is demand because a lot of milk went into schools. So if the schools aren't in session, the demand for milk is down. I specifically don't know of anyone who's had to dump milk, so that's a good thing from that standpoint. In terms of the processing plants and the euthanizing of any hogs, again, I don't know any specific person that's had to do this, but what's happened there is, again, it's the demand for the meat went down, coupled with the plants actually are having issues because folks have contracted the flu, the COVID-19 flu. And as a result of that, they just don't have the folks on the line to process the number of animals that they were doing before. And so these systems that we have that worked so good prior to March 13th, and it's basically the ag industry had figured this out where it was almost manufacturing does this. They do a process called just-in-time delivery. Well, the ag industry had kind of figured this out, that they were used to a just-in-time delivery. And so when the demand slowed down, and then in some instances coupled with the workforce wasn't there to process the animals, then we had problems. But I was asked a question of the day, do I know anybody personally that's had to, put down any animals? And I have not. So, and again, I want to point this out that should someone need to do that, you have to work closely with the Department of Natural Resources. So to make sure that that's done in a way that's ethically and morally and environmentally correct. So, yeah. Let's hope we don't go there.
Right. So my other question was, if a producer is interested in somebody looking over their books, giving them some advice, everybody's having a little bit of a tough time right now, who would they call as far as farm economic advice?
Anyone on the farm management team. And then a service that we actually have is we actually have some financial planning resources that we have available should someone say, I just want to know how efficient my operation is. They could call me or email me, and they could ask about that, and then I'll put them in touch with our farm management financial planner that we have. We actually have one here in Southwest Iowa. He lives in Red Oak, so he's fairly centrally located in Southwest Iowa.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, Patrick, and we appreciate you joining us today. And next week, we will have Erica Lundy, who's our beef production specialist, on with us. So thank you and have a good week.
Thanks, Carol.